Hey, Shalom Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. One second. Oh, you can start right here. Yeah, did you need water again? I got you. Sure, maybe it's not cold though, but so- Yeah, Salakia for that interruption. Once again, this is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Precinct Officer Tapazar. This is ISUPK Killeen's Sabbath service. And with that, Imajim, which means to stand in the Hebrew. La Yashala. Sar, which means to turn. We're going to face the east, which is this direction, sis. All right, we're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew and then the English. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malawaka, Taba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Tawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lakam, Paul, Yawam, Wasalak Kabawath Yanawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawath Yanawa, Wala'a, Taba'aya Nawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hayashaya Nawa, Mayan, Ra, Taya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Wahala, Wahata Para, La'awalamyam, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So be it. This is the prayer of the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Baba Koshah, Nathan Lanawa, Hakak, Hakak, La Rapa'ah, Kal Makalah, Wakal Madawa, Hakak, La Tahar, Ha Matazarium, Hakak, La Ha Kwayum, Ha Mathium, Hakak, Ha Rabakwa, Ha Tamalah, Lagarshan, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the Wada Aman, The prayer of the power in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you. So be it. This is the prayer of the blessing in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shai? Why Mayaka Allah? Why Alahayim? Matazabaya. Salakia. Matazabaya. Alawap Yahana. Ha Alawapyum. Ha Saranium. Ha Quatazayanium. Ha Ya Yalam. Wa Akawathian. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. The water Aman. Bless you, Yahweh. Salaki, this is Salaki. This is the prayer of the blessing in English. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yohana. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it. This is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Salakia. Ashai Ayanya. Al Aharium. Ma'ayan. Yaba'ai Azaria. Azaria Ma'am. Yahweh. Aisha. Shamayam. Salakia. Shamayam. Wa'aratazah. Al Yathan. Lamawat. Regalka. Al Yanawam. Shamarka. Hana La'a. Yanawam. Wala'a. Yayashan. Shamawar. Yasha'ala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazalka. Al-Yad. Yamyanka. Yawamam. Hashamash. La'a Yaka. Slakia. La'a Yakaka. Wayarak. Ba la ya Allah. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Makara. Yashamar. Napashka. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'athka. Wa'aka. Ma'atha. Wa'awalam. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, even forevermore. This is Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim. Al-Damayalaka. Al-Thakarash. Wa al-Thashakwat. Al-Kayahana. Al-Wayabayaka. Salakia. Yahama Yawan. Ra'ash. Al-Amika. Ya'ira Yamwa. Salakia. Ya'ira Yamwa Sawada. Wayatha Yatawazwa. Al-Tazapawanka. Mawa. Lakawa. Wanak. Salakia. Wanak Yadam. Maga Salakia. Ma Gayawa. Wa La'a Yazakar. Sham Yasha'ala, Iwada, Kaya, Na Wa'ai Tazawa, Laba, Yakadawa, Salakia, Al Yaka, Barya, Yar Yakar, Aithawa, Salakia, Ah Hawya, Adawam, Wa Yashama Allah Yum, Salakia, Wa Yashama Allah Yum, Ma Wa'aibua, Wa Hagarium, Gabal, Wa Amawan, Wa Amalak, Palashath, I'm Yeshabia, Tazawar, Dum Ashawar, Na La'awar, Imam Salakia, Imam, Hayawa, Zarwai, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Aisha Laham, Kamajin, Kasaya Salakia, Kasaya Sara'ah, Kaya Salakia, Kaya Salakia, Kaya Bayan, Banakol, Kwayashwan, Nash Salakia, Nash Shamawadya, Ba'ayan, Da'ira, Hay Salakia, Hayawa Daman, La Adama, Ya Aithamawa, Nada Ya Mawa, Kairab, Waza Salakia, Waza Wa Kazaibia, Wa Kazabak, Wa Taza'al Mana, Call Nasa Ya Salaki, Call Nasa Yaka Amawa, Ashar, Amawa, Na Yashara, Lana Nawa, Af, Nawath, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shaya Thamawa, Kagalia, Kakwash, Lapanya, Ra Salaki, Lapanya, Ra Waka, Kaash, Taba'aria Ira, Wa Kala Aba'a, Talahat, Harayam, Khan, Tharadakma, Basa Araka, Wabyasa Wapathka, Wabasa Wapathka, Tha Balaham, Mala'ah, Panyaham, Kwalawan, Waya Bakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabawasha, Waya, Balawa, Ajai, Waya, Kaparwa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Da'aiwa, Kaya Atha, Shamka, Yahawa, Labatka, Al-Yawan, Al-Kaharatazah. Psalm 93 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thy enemies have made a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also was joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, like Zeeb, yea, all their princes, as Zabah, as Zamuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power. In possession, O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. Salakia, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, is the Most High over all the earth. Sar and Yeshabia, which means to sit. Yeah, got him, sis. Don't worry. Sit. You can just come up. I can come and sit in priest. Just come on. Yeah, we're just gonna read it. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and watch it. All right. Hey, Shalom Israel. Like once again, this is the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. This is the Sabbath service. Last week we left off at Genesis chapter 12, verse 5, and we're going to go ahead and continue from there. This is when the Lord basically, speaks to Abraham and tells him to get up and leave from his family. You know what I'm saying? And go to Canaan, to a land that he was shown. And Abraham also had taken a wife. His wife was Sarai at this time. Not Abraham, Abram, Salakia. So the Lord tells Abram and his wife Sarai, to go to Canaan, and Abram takes his nephew with him, Lot. So that's where we're at right now. And Priest and Officer Kalkazai is going to go ahead and begin to read in the Hebrew from Genesis chapter 12, verse 5.
The book of Genesis chapter 12, verse 5 in the Hebrew. Wayakwak Abraham ath Sarai Ashafwa Wa'ath Lawat ban Akyawa Wa'ath call Rakawashum Ashar Rakashwa Wa'ath Hanapash Ashar Aishawa Bakharan or Slak Bakharan Wayataza Awa Lalakath Arataza Kana'ain Wayaba'awa Arataza Kana'ain. Verse 6. Waya Ibar, Waya Ibar Abraham Ba'arataza Aid Makowum Shakum Aid Alawan Mawara Wahakana Anya Azah Ba'arataza. Verse 7. Waya Ra'a Yahweh al Abraham waya Amar Lazaraika Athwa Ath Ha Rataza Ha Zarath Salakia Ha Zaath Wayabun Shum Mazabak La Yahweh Ha Nara Salakia Ha Nara Al Yahweh. Verse 8. Waya Aithak Mashum Hahar Salakia Hahara Makwadum Labayath Al Wayat Ahala Bayath Al Mayum Waha'aya Makwadum Wayabun Shum Mazabak La Yahweh Waya Kora'ah Bashum Yahweh. Verse 9. Verse 9, Slakia. Wayasai Abraham Halawak Wanasawa Salakia Sawai Salakia Hanagaba. Verse 10. Wayahaya Ra'ai Barataza Wayarad Abraham Matazari Yama La Lagawar Shum Kaya Kabad Hara'ib Barataza. Verse 11. Wayahaya Ka'ashor Hakariyab Labawa'a Matazariuma Waya Amor Allah Sarai Ashafwa Hana Na'a Yadaithawa Kaya Asha Yapath Mara'a Ath. Verse 12. Wahaya Kaya Yara'awa Afka Ha Matazarium Wa Amar Wa Amarwa Ashathwa Za'ath Waharagwa Athwa or Slakia Athia Wa Slakia Wa Athka Ya Lakayawa. Verse 13. His last one.
7 from 5 is 13.
Constant.
Oh, it's 12. That's what, right?
You're right. Constant. Slide.
Is it?
Yeah, constant.
You know what I mean?
Book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 5, in the English. And Abram took Sarai's wife and Lot his brother's son and all their substance that they had gathered and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan.
Right. So when the Lord told Abraham Abram, when he gave him the command to go to Canaan, to this new land, he got his wife, he got his nephew, you know what I'm saying? Lot was his brother's son, and all of his servants that he had. and all of his substance. Meaning, like, when you make a big move to a new area, y'all know what it's like moving. It take a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. You know what I mean? It could be difficult. You know what I mean? Making a sudden move, but the Lord gave him the command, and Abraham followed that command. He fulfilled that order. You know what I'm saying? He got things together. He got his family together as the head of his household, and they went to this land that the Lord told him to go to. Go ahead.
And into the land of Canaan they came. Verse 6. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land.
Right. So the area as Abraham is moving into Canaan, he's starting to see the Canaanites that actually dwell in this land. Now, a lot of times our people, Negroes, you know what I'm saying, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we like to associate ourselves with quote unquote so-called Africans, right? But the majority of Africans, you know what I'm saying, there are Africans who could be Israelites who live in that continent, but the majority of Africans on that continent are what you would call Hamites, right? Or Canaanites. You understand? So Negroes and Africans are not the same people. So that's why it says Abraham, who went into this land, saw that the Canaanites dwelt in that land. You understand? And that's an important thing for our people to understand, that we are not the same as Africans. You understand? Those are the people that sold us to our oppressor into slavery. You understand? Now, as Abraham is in this land, you know what I'm saying, he sees the Canaanite, the Lord's going to tell him something. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land.
Read it again.
Unto thy seed will I give this land.
Right. So the Lord is now making a promise to Abram, saying that to your children, your children's children, I'm gonna give this entire land to them. So now Abraham you gotta think, Abraham comes into a land that's already occupied by another people, and the Lord's saying, I'm gonna give this land to your children. Keep reading.
And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him.
Right. So because the Lord appeared unto Abraham, unto Abram, Abraham built an altar there, you know what I'm saying, as a reminder of the promise that the Most High gave him at that particular area.
Verse 8. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So this is where he would seek the Most High. You know what I'm saying? He set up camp there. You know what I mean? And he built an altar to, you know what I mean? Which really, that's talking about sacrifices. This is not talking about building stones and praying to stones. We don't pray to stones. We're not Muslim. You know what I'm saying? The God of the Arabs, you know what I'm saying? That you know what I'm saying? They do Islam. We don't kiss stones. We don't pray stones. This is talking about where Abraham did sacrifices at, because that was the custom of our people. You understand? All the way from Adam. You know what I mean? You know, when after Adam had Cain and Abel, you saw them bringing sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? They did that. It wasn't there that was at an altar, but they did that at an altar. You know what I'm saying? That was our custom. All right, go ahead.
And verse 9. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. Verse 10. And there was a famine in the land.
Right.
And Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there.
Okay. So here we got Abram going into Egypt. Go ahead.
For the famine was grievous in the land.
Right. So because it was a famine in the land, which means that it was very difficult to grow crops. And because it was difficult to grow crops, that means that you couldn't even buy from people who were sellers of grain, right? Because they were dealing with the famine as well. You understand? So Abraham had to go into Egypt. Egypt was more, but you know, Egypt was a more populated country that had more resources. So he went down there to see if hopefully hoping that the famine would not be in Egypt. And this is what our people have done, you know what I mean, for you know what I mean, for history. You understand? Whenever we were in trouble in our land, we would go into Egypt. You know what I'm saying? You know, we'll read about this later on down, but this is what Jacob and his sons did when they had a famine. They go into Egypt. You know what I'm saying? When a lot of times when the Israelites would get in trouble, they would flee to Egypt. You understand? when Christ was a baby and Herod was trying to kill Christ as a baby, Joseph and Mary, you know what I'm saying, a black man, a black woman, you know what I'm saying, Joseph, the father of Jesus, you understand, they took him into Egypt. You understand? And why? Because even though we're not Africans, even though we're not Egyptians, we have a similar skin tone, so we can blend in amongst those people. It's a place to hide, and since they look like us, you know, we can do trade. Even though we're not them, we can still, you know, do trade because we are, as the blackity black folks say, we're melanated. You understand?
Right.
But you know, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And that's something we got to remember. You know what I mean? Now, that doesn't mean that we can't do business with other nations and other ethnicities. That's fine. We can do business. We can be cordial, but we're not family. And that's something that we got to remember. What verse was that?
Verse 12.
Okay. So, is there any more?
Well, that was end of verse 11, going to verse 12.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 12. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see this, Salakia. Verse 11. And it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, behold, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon.
Right. So Abram is having this conversation with his wife now, right? And now Abraham at the time was 75, and I believe Sarai was 10 years younger than Abram, so she was 65. But y'all heard the phrase "black don't crack." You understand? Even though she was this age, it's the Bible scripture said that she was fair to look upon, meaning she was very beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Think about like a Claire Huxtable, or like a Cicely Tyson, or like Diana Ross or something like that. You know what I mean? A black woman that's older but still very beautiful. Skin is very, you know what I mean, tight. Like, you know, you see these our oppressors. You know what I mean? The Edomites, their women, they start wrinkling at like 50 years old.
Right.
Like they look like they're 50 years older than what their age is. But the princesses of Zion, the Lord's, you know what I mean? Our women, they age very slowly if they take care of themselves, you know, and don't, you know, partake in, you know, saying drugs and cigarettes and things like that. They usually retain their beauty. So Abraham is going into these Africans' lands, these Egyptians' lands, and he's telling his wife, "You're very beautiful." Is that the end of the verse?
Concert.
Okay, we're gonna read the next 7 verses in Hebrew. Is there any questions? Okay.
The book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 13 in the Hebrew. Amaria na'a achathia ath lama'ain ya yatab laya ba'ibawar. It's like a ba'ibawarka wakayaf. It's like a wakayaf wayakafa napashia bagal yaka. Verse 14. Waya haya kabawa'a abaraham matazariama waya ra'awa ha matazarium ath ha'asha kaya yapa hawa'a ma'ad. Verse 15. Waya ra'awa atha sharya para'ai waya halalwa atha Allah para'ai wathakwak ha asha bayath para'ai. Verse 16. Wala Abraham hayatayab ba'ibawar ha wayahaya lawa taza'an wa bakwar, wa hamawaryum, wa ibadyum, wa shapakath, wa athanath, wa gamoyum. Verse 17. Waya nagai Yahweh ath parai nagayum gadayum wa ath bayathwa il dabar sarai asha abaraham or abaram salaki. Verse 18. Waya parai la abaraham waya amar ma za'ath I ashayaf la'a salaki laya lama la'a hagadath laya kaya ashafka hawa'a. Verse 19. Lama'a amarath akafya wa salakia hawa'a wa akwa wa salakia wa akwa atha laya la asha wa aitha hana ashafka kwak walaka. Verse 20. Wayatazawa alyawa parai anashim wayasha lachwa athwa wa ath ashafwa wa ath call ashar lawa. Book of Genesis chapter 13 verse 1.
Just 1 second, if I could, Salakia. And let me explain this as well. So I want to, because we need to make a distinction from what happens in the Christian church and what happens, you know what I'm saying, in the real house of the Lord, right? So in the Christian church, people are what they call, which is really just gibberish, you know what I mean, and it's really demonic, but they call it speaking in tongues, right? They'll say, you know, Lashonda bought a Honda from Wanda, right? And it's funny how they all say the same phrase, and they say that they're talking in a language in the spirit to the Most High. What we're doing right now is speaking in tongues. Priest and Officer Caucasai is reading Genesis, the scriptures, in the Lashawan Kodash. That means the holy tongue. This is in the Hebrew, the original Hebrew. What he is now doing is he's because the scriptures say that when you speak in another tongue, that you should have a what? An interpreter, right? To break down what was said in the language that could not be understood. So we have people, because the scriptures say that if someone comes into the church, right, into the congregation, and they hear a foreign tongue, it's not going to benefit them because they don't understand it, right?
Right.
So it says, let there be an interpreter. Otherwise, let them keep silence. Meaning that if you're going to speak another tongue, you should have someone there to be able to interpret that tongue. This is what that means, just to show you that the Christian church is false. You understand? What they're doing is a performance, it's entertainment. But what's actually going on here is he read in one tongue, and now he's going to give the interpretation of that tongue. All right. So I just wanted to explain that and break that down. But go ahead.
Concept. Verse Book of Genesis chapter 13 verse 1. Wa ya'al abraham matazarium hawa'a.
You in the English, right?
In the okay, come. The book of Genesis chapter 13 verse 1. Salaki. Book of Genesis chapter 12 verse 13. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may that it may be well with me for thy sake.
Right. So let's go ahead and get back in context and get a recap of what's actually going on. So they're about to go into Egypt, and it's like they're at the border of Egypt. So it's like when the Hispanics or the so-called Mexicans, who are the tribe of Issachar, when they try to come back into the country to America, they have to stop at the border, right, before they go into another country. It's like, actually, it's really like any country you go into. That's why a lot of times when you fly out the country, you have to have a passport, because you have to go through customs, or go through like the immigration to make sure that you're legal to come into that country. So before they even get through customs, he because his wife is so beautiful, he looks at Sarai and says, "Listen, I need you to tell them that you're my sister." Right? Now, keep reading, Salakia.
Verse Salakia. Salakia. And my soul shall live because of thee.
Right. So Abram is asking his wife, because you're so beautiful, when we go into this place, tell them that you're my sister. And he's going to explain why. He says, so my soul shall live. So Abraham is in fear. He's in fear of his life because of his wife. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 14, and it came to pass that when Abram was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair.
Right. So now when they come into this country, to Egypt, the Egyptians is looking at Sarai like, damn, this sister is beautiful. Right. And that's what Abram was concerned about. Okay, keep reading.
Verse 15, the princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh.
So now she was so beautiful that not only did the common Egyptians see her and recognize her beauty, but the princes of Pharaoh. These were Pharaoh's. When you hear princes of Pharaoh, you got to imagine like senators or congressmen or like aides to the president. You understand? The people that like the chief administrator. You know what I'm saying? Or the those who assist the president in what he does here in the government in the United States. These are the men that saw Sarai as well. So she got famous pretty quick. You understand? You know what I mean? Without an Instagram, right? Go ahead.
The princes also Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh.
Right. So they went and told Pharaoh how beautiful she was, right?
And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house.
Right. So now check this out. Abraham told her to say that you're my sister, but as soon as the Egyptians saw her, they took her into Pharaoh's house. Like, hey, she coming with us. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 16. And he entreated Abram well for her sake.
So what does this mean? That he entreated Abram well for her sake. Basically, he's inquiring. They're trying to take Sarai and make her the wife of Pharaoh. So they're trying to come to him with a negotiation because he told her to tell them that that's his sister. When you would want to pursue a woman, the custom was for you to go to the father, or if the father's not present, then because that's the brother, you go to him to do a negotiation to try to get that woman. And that's what these Hamites were doing. Okay, go ahead.
And he had sheep and oxen and he asses and men servants and maid servants and she asses and camels. Verse 17, and the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife.
Now listen, the Egyptians gave him servants, cattle, all type of different cattle. You know what I'm saying? So he basically got a dowry for his sister or his wife, but he called her his sister. So now the Lord told Abram that your seed is going to have the land of Canaan. So the Lord, because Abram was a man of God, and who the Lord chose, the Lord now plagues Pharaoh's house. Keep reading. What verse we at?
Verse 18.
Okay.
And Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife?
Now look, Pharaoh figured out, because, and I don't know what the plague was, but whatever the Most High decided to do to that Hamite, Most High in Christ, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it was something to where it was undeniable that we didn't did something wrong.
Right.
And you know, it was the art of deduction. What's the last thing that we changed up in here to cause to be some plague up in our household? Oh, we brought this woman up in here. So Pharaoh figured it out. Like this woman is she's not available. You understand? And so he tell Abraham, like, yo, why you lie and say this is your sister? But check this out, right? Did Abraham really lie? That's what I want to ask. Did Abram lie? Did he lie? Really? Is there any more? We had verse 18 or 19?
Verse 8 or verse 8 or verse 19, Slacky.
This is the one you read right now is 19?
Concert. Next is the one coming up.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 19. Why saidest thou, she is my sister? Damn. Okay. So I might have taken her to be my wife. So I might have taken her to me to wife.
So the Pharaoh was like, yo, why would you lie and say your wife is your sister when I would have took her as my woman? I would have laid her down in my bed and took her, and this is your wife. Why would you lie like that? Like what kind of man are you? And you took the cattle and stuff I gave you. Like what you on? All right? Is that it? Or we gotta go into the Hebrew?
It's a little bit more.
Go ahead.
Verse and a half. Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. Verse 20.
We didn't do 20 in the Hebrew, right?
A concert. We on
it, or did we already read it in Hebrew?
We read it in Hebrew.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
Verse 20. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife and all that he had.
Listen, man. Abram left with a dove. You know what I'm saying? Now, what he did was show that he didn't really have faith in the Most High's protection. But the Lord, even though Abram, you know, he didn't know that the Lord was going to hold him down like that, the Lord showed him that he was with him because he plagued Pharaoh's house. So Pharaoh was so destroyed by the Most High. The Most High destroyed the Egyptians so bad, he didn't even ask for the cattle back that he gave him for her. He was like, yo, just get your wife, get your stuff, and get up out of here. So, he came up, man.
Right.
Abram came up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna ask the question again. Did Abraham lie when he said that was his sister? And if he didn't lie, or I'm gonna ask you, sis, do you feel like Abram lied? Right. See, and this is why I'm going into this, because that's a lie. No, it wasn't no incest going on, because that's forbidden, because the laws that the Lord gave Moses, right? They forbid incest. You can't lay with your sister. You can't lay with your father. You can't lay with your daughter. You can't lay with your aunt, your uncles. Now, we have it to where, like, if you have a third cousin, you can be with your third cousin. That's lawful. But to be with your actual sister, is unlawful. And it's always been that. Now, it got codified in the law of Moses, meaning that it got written down in the tablets, but that was always our custom. The Lord never allowed for his people to be with lay with their brother or sister. But let me ask you this, sis. As Black people, when we see each other, right, whether we know each other or not, how do we refer to each other? So if I see a brother in the street, I might say, hey, what's going on, brother? Or when I saw you come in the building today, I said, how you doing, sis? Shalom, sis. We don't have the same mother and father. But Black people refer to each other as brother and sis. Why? Because we know from a cultural standpoint, and really spiritually and historically, we know that we're family.
Right.
You understand? You don't see white people seeing each other saying, what's going on, brother? What's going on, sister? They don't do that. We're really the only people on the earth that do that refer to other people that we don't know as brother and sister. So Abram didn't lie when he said, this is my sister, for two reasons. One, because we refer to each other as family. Even though if I marry a Black woman, I'm marrying my sister because she's my sister. She ain't my sister according to us being immediate family, but she's my sister because she comes from my tribe. She comes from my nation. So she's my sister.
Right.
And also because Abram's father, you know what I'm saying? But because he married Sarai, that became his daughter-in-law. So he legally was saying, well, that's my father's daughter. You know what I mean? Because by marriage, by law, they were married by law. So he said, that's my father's daughter. So that's my sister. That so you know what I'm saying. So he was playing on playing on the term, but Abram didn't lie, and that Abram never had incest or had sex with his sister. The Lord would never allow a child to be born through that. Yeah, no. So what that means is that was his daughter-in-law. And you know, when you see that word daughter-in-law, what does that mean? That means this is my daughter by what? Because he married her and made him his wife. That's his father's daughter. But that was not his physical father's daughter at all, because that would have been unlawful. You understand?
Right.
And so the Christian church teaches that, you know, even with the idea of Adam and Eve, right? They said that they were the first two people on earth. So they said, oh, the Lord had to populate them with two people. So they had to have sex with each other, and the kids had to have sex with each other. That's a lie. Sister, let me ask you this question. Who are the people on earth that do that? Well, I'm gonna keep it real. Where are you from? You from Texas? Memphis? Okay. Well, my folks is from Mississippi. The people that was doing that stuff was in the trailer parks.
Right.
You know, they even made a movie about it called The Hills, where them white folks be inbreeding they still doing it to this day. And they got one eye going this way, another eye going that way, because when you lay with your immediate family, it produces, well, complications genetically, right? So clearly we not doing it, because if we was doing it, we would be producing children that look, you know, like they got some issues. You understand? But our oppressor, the so-called white man, is known for incest. You understand? You know, my sister, my sister. He said, before I give my sister to you, I'm gonna marry her first. Like that's their whole culture.
Right.
You understand? White people do that. Our people don't do that. Now you might have situations where we have in our community child molestation and violations like that, where you have wicked men in our families, you know, people that want to, you know, or even vice versa. You even have some women that like R. Kelly, you know what I mean, that abuse boys when they're young. But that's not the same. It is incest to a degree, but that's a different thing. Whereas they treat it as a culture that it's okay for you to marry your sister. And at least in our community, we know that child molestation is wrong, touching children is wrong, touching family members is wrong. But to them in their community, it's not a bad thing. Okay, so you can go ahead, Ak, with the next set of scriptures.
The book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wa Ya'al Abraham Matazarium Hawa'a wa Ashatwa wa Kal Amar Laya Salaki Lawa Walawat Imwa Hanagaba. Verse 2. Wa Abaram Salaki wa Abaram Kabad Ma'ad Bamakwana Bakasat wa Wabaza wa Salakia Wabazahab. Verse 3. Wayalaka Lamasa'ayawa Managab Wa'id Bayath Allah Id Hamakwawum Ashar Haya Shum Ahala Ahalawa Bathakhala Bayan Bawath Allah wa Bayan Ha'aya. Verse 4. Allah Makwawum Ha Mazabach Ashar Aisha Shum Bara'ashan Bara Salaki Bara Ashana Wayakwaraa Sham Abaram Basham Yahweh. Verse 5. Wagam Lalawat Ha Halak Ath Abaram Haya Tazaan Wa Bakwar Wa Ahalyum. Verse 6. Wala'a Nasha'a Athum Harataza La Shabbath Wa Wakadwa Haya Rakawasham Rab Wala'a Yakawa La Shabbath Washadwa. Verse 7. Wayahaya Rayab Bayan Ra'aya Makwana Abaram Wabayan Ra'aya Makwana Makwana Lawat Wa Wahakanaanya Waha Para Wahab Harazia Azah Washab Baratazat. Book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 8.
What verse was that you left off on?
Verse 7.
27?
Genesis chapter 1 or chapter 13, verse 7.
Oh, okay.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 1 in the English. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. Verse 2. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3. And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai. Verse 4. Unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first.
Right. So basically, he circled back to where he had set up that altar. You know what I'm saying? When the Most High told him that he would give the land, you know what I mean, to his seed. Right. Go ahead.
And there Abram called on the name of the Lord.
Right. That's where he did his sacrifices. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 5. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents.
Right. So even his nephew being around Abram, he came up as well. You know what I'm saying? He had cattle and all that too as well. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And Lot also, which went with Abram, or Salakia. Verse 6. And the land was not able to bear them.
Right. The land was not able to bear them. What that's talking about is that because Abram had so much cattle, and because Lot had so much cattle, it wasn't enough grazing land, like grazing land for all the animals. Right. It was because they had so much, it wasn't that land. The land couldn't deal with the amount of cattle that they had. Right. Go ahead.
That they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together.
Right. Abram had so much, and Lot had so much, they couldn't really be in the same space, even though that was his uncle, and they both was doing well. It wasn't enough room. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
Right. So like it was beef between Abram's herdmen. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the men that dealt with his cattle and Lot's men that dealt with their cattle. And it was probably over grazing areas and over like water. You understand? You know, they probably, you know, like they were getting into scuffles and fights. Go ahead.
And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land.
Right. And in the midst of them fighting, you got Hamites in the land. Right. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 8 in the Hebrew. Waya Amar Abaram al Lawat al Na'a Tha'aya Mariyaba Bayan Bayanya, wa Bayanyaka, wa Bayan Ra'aya, wa Bayan Ra'ayaka, Kaya Anashim, Akyam, Salakia, Anakhanwa, Salakia, Anaknawa. Verse 9. Hala'a ka ha'arataza la panyaka haparad na'a salakia ma'alya hashamya hashamala wa ayamana wa haya salakia haya mayan hayamyan salakia wa asham wa ashama ya all salakia wa ashama salakia wa ashama ya all la. Verse 10. Wa yasha'a lawat ath ayanya yan salakia ayanya wa ya ra'a ath call kakar hayaradan kaya kala mashakwa lapanya shakhath yahawa ath sadam wa ath imara kagun yahawa karataza matazarium ba'akat tazair. Verse 11. Wa ya bakhar lawat ath kal kakar hayaradan wa ya sa'i lawat makwadum wa ya paradwa ayash ma'al akyawa. Verse 12. Abaram yashab ba'arataza kana'ain walawat yashab ba'arya ha-kakar waya ahal id Saddam. Verse 13. Wa anashya Saddam ra'ayim wakhata'ayim la Yahweh ma'ad. Verse 14. Wa Yahweh amar al Abaram acharya haparad lawat ma'amwa sha'a na'a ayanyaka wa ra'a man ha makwayum slakia ha makwawum ashar afa shum tazapana wa wanagada wakwa dama wayama. Book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 7 in the English. And there was verse 8. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee.
Right. So once like Abraham got wind of like the fights that his men and Lot's men were having, he went to his nephew and was like, there shouldn't be no beef between us. There shouldn't be no static or no issues between us because we family, right? Go ahead.
I pray thee between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren.
Right. So he's like, we family. It shouldn't be no drama, no issues. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Is not the whole land before thee?
Right. He's like, look at all this land that's around us. You ain't got to be right here where I'm at. You know what I mean? The whole land is before us, right? I ain't got to be here where you at, right? We got all this land around us. Go ahead.
Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left.
Right. Just, and just to make it plain, he's just saying like, if you go that way, I'll go that way. You know what I mean? If you go this way, I'm gonna go that way. You know what I mean? Because it's better for us to part ways than us to keep this friction going. All right, where somebody gonna end up losing their life. All right, go ahead.
Verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
That's heavy. You know what I'm saying? So the direction that Lot looked in, it was like well watered. It was like, good vegetation. And this is prior to the Lord destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, man, the scriptures say that we walk by faith and not by sight, right? So Lot was looking at with what he could see with his eyes, like, oh, this is a good move right here. You know what I mean? A lot of times, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man, we don't want to get involved with something until we see it already popping. You know what I mean? It got to already be jumping and going. That's why the Christian church is so big. You know what I mean? Because they got these mega churches, the big choir, the lights, and they feel like Black people like we want to go be a part of what's already in motion. You know what I mean? Go with the wave. And that's what Lot did. He saw how the land looked and was like, okay, how much? Because it looked to his eye like this is like the best real estate right here. You understand? But not knowing, that's why it puts in the scriptures before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It looked good, not knowing that destruction is on the way. You understand? Keep reading.
Even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt.
Right. It's saying that this land, before the Lord destroyed it, with Sodom and Gomorrah, it was like the garden of the Most High, like Eden. That's how good it looked, like the land of Egypt, which is why when the famine hit Abraham in the land that he was at in Canaan, why he went into Egypt. Because Egypt, you know what I mean? If you do any history, you'll know about like the Fertile Crescent. Egypt had the River Nile. So Egypt was well watered as well. So this particular area that Lot saw, it was watered in the same way that the Garden of Eden was, which really meant like underground pools and springs and whatnot. You understand? And it was watered like how Egypt was. All right, keep reading.
As thou comest unto Zoar, verse 11. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan.
Right, Lot made the move from what he was like, oh yeah, it's popping over here. You know what I mean? It's a good area. This is gonna be prime real estate. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other.
Right.
Verse 12. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom.
He pitched his tent towards where?
Towards Sodom.
So now this is heavy, man. You know what I mean? And we gonna get ahead of ourselves, but he set up camp in the direction of Sodom. All right. And he dwelt in the cities of the plain, but Abram dwelt in the land where the Lord said, I'm gonna give this to your children. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly.
Just because you live in an area that's nice, if you got sinners in that area, the Lord, you're not gonna have the Lord's protection, and you're really putting yourself in danger. That's what this is talking about. You know what I'm saying? Even though Abraham dwelt in this land that he was in, he had the Lord's protection, and that's what you want to be. That's what you want to have, is the Lord's protection. Because it don't matter if it seems like you in a bad situation, that you don't have a lot of resources, or you don't have access to what you would want to have. If you doing what the Lord said to do, right, and you doing righteousness, you keeping the laws of the Most High, then you'll have the Lord's protection. It don't matter where you at, you're gonna succeed. You understand? And the Lord will you know what I mean? The Lord will make your situation a successful one. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times people look at they look at what's going on around them, and it looks like it's successful, but it's just because judgment hasn't come yet. You understand? That's why that's why, you know what I'm saying? You know, where you choose to dwell, it doesn't really matter if the Lord is with you, but it's wise to be around, you know what I mean, people that serve the Most High God, man. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean in terms of living around them. I mean, it's wise for you to be around those that serve the Lord, and you serve the Lord as well, so you can have the Lord's protection.
Right.
You understand? No matter where you're at. But if you but if you're not under the Lord's protection and you around sinners, then, you know what I'm saying, or those that break the Lord's laws, then you liable to get caught up in their judgment. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to be mindful, right, of the company that you keep. Okay, keep reading.
Verse 14. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward.
Dang, the Lord told him, he was like, look in all four directions from where you at right now. You know what I mean? Look north, look south, look east, look west. This is after Lot get away from, you know what I mean, with all his belongings and his family. The Lord's like, look all around you, Abram. Right? Go ahead.
It's the book of Genesis chapter 13, verse 15 in the Hebrew.
You hadn't read 15?
Nah, sir.
7 from 8 would be 15, right?
Be 8 through 14 be 7.
Okay, no sweat. Go ahead.
It's the book of Genesis chapter 13, verse 15. Kaya af kal ha'aratazar ashar atha ra'ah laka.
After this 7, we're going to end our prayers.
Athana wala zaraika I will verse 16. Washamthya washamthya ath zaraika ka ipar ha'arataza ashar yawakal ayash la manawaf ath ipar ha'arataza gum zaraika wa mana. Verse 17. For one hafahaka hawasalaki wathahalak barataza la'araka wala rachab slaki wala rachaba kaya laka athana. Verse 18. Waya ahal abaram waya ba'a wayashab ba'a ba'alanya Mama Ra'a Ashar Ba Khabar Wa Khabarwan Wa Yabun Sham Mazabak La Yahweh. Book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 1 in the Hebrew.
You said what now?
Genesis chapter 14, verse 1.
You reading the Hebrew now?
Constant.
Oh, Salak, I thought you was going to the English.
Waya Haya Bayumya Slakia Amara Paul Malak Shanair our Slakia our Wak Malak Alasar Kadara La Imar Malak Ayalam Watha Slakia Watha the Isle Malak Gawayum. Verse 2. Aishwa while Malakma Af Barad Malak Saddam wa Af Barashai Malak Imara Shana'ab Malak Adama Washama Abar Malak Tazabayum Tazabayum wa Malak Balai Haya'a Taza'ir. Verse 13. Call Allah Habar wa al Imak Hashadyum Hawa'a Yum Ha Malak. Book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 15. Verse 15, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered.
Read again, Salakia.
Book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 15. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever.
Right. So the Lord is reminding Abram of the promise that he gave him earlier, that he's going to give all this land, the land of Canaan, to his seed, to his children, you know what I mean, and his children's children. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered.
Right. He's given a promise to Abram that the generations that come up out of him and his wife is going to be like the dust of the earth, the stars of the sky. You can't count all the sand on the beach. You know what I'm saying? That's why so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we're everywhere. We're all over the four corners of the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? From South America to Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like we cover the earth. We can't be numbered. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 17. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee.
Right. It's like when you get like a new house, you know what I'm saying? Or you house hunting, you walk the house, right? You walk in the house to see what's going to be yours. So the Most High told Abram to walk the land, the length of it, the breadth of it, because he wants him to see and to know what's going to belong to his children, man, that are coming. Right. Go ahead.
verse 18. Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord.
Right. So, you know, as was Abraham's custom, he built another altar to do sacrifices at, you know what I'm saying, in Hebron. Go ahead, Art.
Book of Genesis, chapter 14, verse 1. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Eleazar,
Chedorlaomer,
king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. Verse 2, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Gomorrah, and Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. Verse 3, all these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea.
Right. So what's the last verse you into that?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, so basically what this is talking about is the kings of Sodom, the kings of Gomorrah. There was 2 kings over each city. These other kings that lived in that area were at war with them, and they made an alliance to go to war with the kings of Sodom and the kings of Gomorrah. Now, as we just read earlier, Lot had pitched his tent towards Sodom. So now Abram's nephew is living in this area where this war is starting to get mustered up. You know what I'm saying? And starting to take place. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. This is Genesis 14 and what?
Left off at 3.
So we're gonna end at Genesis 14 and 3 and continue next week. But with that, Amijam, which means to stand.
La Yashala.
La Yashala. Got it? Got it. All right. Sar, Hakwadam, which means to turn and face the east, this direction. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew.
This is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa.
Shabbat
Shemayim. Kodash. Haya. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakaka. Taba'ah. Ratazaka. Haya. Aisha. Barataza. Kawa. Haya. Bashamayim. Nathanawa. Lakam. Call. Yawam. Wasalaknawa. Kabawatnawa. Kasalaknawa. Wala. Tabia'anawa. Anasayawan. Babal. Hawashanawa. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Wahala. Wahatapa'ara. La'awalamyum. Man. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. The power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. The prayer of the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh. Baba Kushah. Nathanawa.
Hakak.
Hakak. La Rapa'ah. Call Makala.
Call Makala.
Wakal Madawa.
Makal Madawa.
Hakat.
Hakar.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Hamatazorium.
Hatamazarium.
Hakat.
Hakar.
Lahakwayum.
Lahakwayum.
Hamathium.
Hamathium.
Hakat.
Hakar.
Awakawa.
Arakawa.
Hatama Allah.
Hatama Allah.
Lagar Shun.
Lagar Shun.
Bashim Yawashai.
Bashim Yahushai.
The Wadamun.
The water unknown. In the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai.
The name of Yahweh.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the
power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it. The prayer of the blessing. In the Hebrew.
Barakatah Yahweh. Salakia. Wa Yahweh Shai. Wa Mayakala. Wa Allah Salakia. Wa Allahayim.
Wa Allahayim.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Ha Alawapyum. Ha Saranyum.
Saranyum.
Ha Quatazayanyum.
Quatazayanyum.
Ha Chayoyum. Wa Ha Aquathium. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bashim Yahweh.
Bashim Yahweh.
The water amun.
The water amun. In the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael. And the angels.
The angels.
Commanding General Yahana. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it. Psalms 121. In the Hebrew.
Asha. Ayanya. Al-Hahorium. Ma'ayan. Yaba'a. Isaiah. Ma'aim. Yahweh. Asha. Shemayim. Wa'aratazah. Al-Yathan. Lamawat. Ragalka. Al-Yanawam. Shamarka. Hana. La'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashun. Shawamar. Yasharala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazalka. Al-Yad. Yamyanka. Yawamam. Hashamash. La'ah. Yakaka. Wayarat. Balayala. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Makarah. Yashamar. Atnapashka. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'atka. Wabawa'aka. Ma'aitha. Wa'aid awalam.
In the English, Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold. He that keepeth Yasharala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. Even forevermore. Psalms 83. In the Hebrew.
Allahayim. Al Damayelika. Al Thakarash. Wa Al Thashakwat. Allah. Kayahana. Awayabyaka. Yahamayawan. Ra'ash. Al Imaka. Salaki. Ariyamwa.
Sawada.
Wayatha. Salaki.
Aitazawa.
Al Tazapawanyaka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Wanakakyadam. Magalia.
Wala'a,
Wala,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Shem Yasharala,
Yashala,
Iwada, Kaya, Nawa Laba, Lakat Yakadwa,
Yakadwa,
Alyaka,
Yakar,
Baria,
Barya,
Yakaratwa,
Yakarwa,
Ahalya,
Wahoya,
Adawam, Wayashama it's like it, Wayashama Alayam,
Wayashama Alayim,
Mawaaba,
Mawawa,
Wahagarium,
Wahagarium,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wa I'm a one,
Wa'amawan,
Wa I'm a lot,
Wa'amalat,
Palashat,
Parashah,
I'm Yashabya,
Kashabya,
Tazawar,
Sawar,
Gamashawar,
Shawar,
Nalawa, Imon, Hayawa,
Yawa,
Zarawa,
Zawa,
Labanya,
Labanya,
Lawat,
Lawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishalaham,
Shalaham,
Kamadian,
Yin,
Kasaya, Sara'ah,
Sarah,
Kayabyan,
Yabyan,
Banakal,
Bakal,
Koyashwan,
Kwayashwan,
Nashamadwa,
Shamadwa,
Ayanda Ara,
Ayandara,
Hayawa,
Wa,
Daman,
Daman,
La'adama,
Daman,
Shayatama,
Shayatamwa,
Nadayabmawa,
Salakia,
Ka'irab,
Ra,
Wakaza'aba,
Wakazabya,
Wakazabat,
Wakazabak,
Wakatazalamana,
Wakatazalamanai,
Ka Nasayakamwa,
Call Kamwa,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Nayarasha,
Nayarashah,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Na'awa,
Nawa,
Alahayam,
Alahayam,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Kagogala,
Kagogula,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya,
Lopunya,
Rawaka,
Rawaka,
Ka'ash,
Kaash,
Baba Ira Yaira,
Baba Yaira,
Wakalahaba, Talahat,
Talahat,
Haryam,
Haryam,
Khan, Baradapma,
Daradama,
Basa Aryaka,
Basahirika,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Wapa'apka,
Wapaaka,
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'a,
Mala'a,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Palawan,
Kualawan,
Wayabakwashwa,
Wabashwa,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Wabashwa,
Wabashwa,
Wayaba, it's like it, Wayabahawa,
Yahweh,
Ajai, Wayakapawa,
Wayakaparwa,
Waya Abadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Waya Daiwa,
Wayadawa,
Kaya Ata,
Kayaka,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Labadka,
Labaka,
Al Yawan,
Yawan,
Al Kaha Arakaza,
Psalm 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O power.
Keep not thy silence, O power.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O power.
And be not still, O power.
For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
They are taking crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden
And
ones.
consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
come, let us cut them off. From being a nation.
from being a nation.
That the name of Israel
The name of Israel
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more remembered.
They have consulted together with one consent.
They have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
the Hagarenes, Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Ashur also was joined with them.
Assured also the joint with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites,
Do unto them as unto the Midianites,
as unto Sisera,
as unto Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kason,
thy son,
which perished at Endor.
perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like Oreb,
like Zeeb,
like Zeeb,
yea, all their princes as Zabah
as Zabah,
and as Zamunah, who said,
who
let us take to ourselves the houses of the power in possession.
in possession.
Oh, my power,
Oh,
make them as the wheel, as the stubble before the wind,
for the wind.
as the fire burneth the wood. As the flame set at the mountains on fire.
As the flame set at the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute them
with thy tempest and make them afraid. With thy storm.
with thy
Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. O Yahweh. Let them be confounded. In trouble forever. Yeah, let them be put to shame. And perish. That men may know that thou whose name alone is Yahweh, are the most high over all the earth. This is the prayer of the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shai,
in the name of Yahweh,
listen to us now.
listen to us
Right now,
right now.
send evils and curses
Send evil and
and punishment
and
and destruction
and destruction
and death
and death
to the heathen
to the heathen
that speak against us, thy
that
prophets,
speak against us, thy prophets,
the teachers,
the teachers,
the princes,
the
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite brothers,
the Israelite brothers,
and the school.
and the schools.
Send evils and curses
Send evil and curses
and punishment and destruction
and punishment and destruction
and death
and death
to the heathen
to the heathen.
and shake loose the pockets of the rich
To take loose the pockets of the rich
of Israel
of Israel
that refuse to give to the school,
that refuse to get to the school,
force their riches
force their riches
to enter into thy
to
sanctuary,
enter into thy sanctuary,
send evils and curses
evil
and punishment and destruction
and punishment and destruction
and death to the
and
Edomites
death to the evil
and the nations and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies,
like synagogues,
the Roman Catholic Church,
the Roman Catholic Church,
the Pope,
the Pope,
Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egypt,
the militia,
the militia,
the Ku Klux
the
Klan,
Ku Klux Klan,
the Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation,
skinheads,
skinhead,
Posse Comitatus,
the Comitatus,
the gay
the
movement,
gay movement,
the lesbian movement,
the
spies, and workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, the Army, the Navy,
the Navy,
the Air Force,
Air
the
Force,
Marines,
the Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
open up the internet
open up the internet,
and the airwaves
the airways,
and the cable access channels and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people
convict the spirit of any of the people
that seek to stop us
that seek to stop
and bring swift death
and bring swift death
to all the heathen
to all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way
or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet,
Let loose all the terrorists. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and destroy.
and destroy,
Cause the terrorists to come against America and destroy their strongholds. Let America shake at the hands of the terrorists. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and kill all the heathens come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always. So be it.
So be it.
Sar, Yashabia, since you can sit, we're gonna do a courtesy salute to the Akim. Oh, Salakia. Salakia. We're gonna salute the Torah.
How about Simeon Shabrak? Yeah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrak.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrak. Yeah. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrak. Yeah. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrak. Yeah.
All right, this one. Come on. I want to give a courtesy salute to the men. Oh, Salaki. You can go ahead. Men of Israel, Mount Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh, Yazamatah, Imajim, sis, you can stand. Sar, face the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shabbat, Yazamatah, class dismissed.